I got my game shoes on. I'm gonna get up and go do my job. I won't stop until I reach the top, 'cause winning's all I do, yeah. And if you push me down, I'm gonna get up and then shake your ground. It's too late to stop me now, 'cause winning's all I do, yeah. I feel it in my veins and I'm ready to go. Adrenaline is pumping from my head to my toes. I'm stepping up strong like a king on his throne. Lights turn on and I'm ready to go. It's showtime. If you wanna go get it, gotta give it all you got and more. Yeah, it's showtime. Ready or not, you better fight harder than before. It's showtime. Now keep your eyes on the prize. No matter what, I'll put up a good fight. Do what I gotta do to survive, 'cause winning's all I do, yeah. Be confident, 'cause this moment may never come again. You better give 110%, 'cause winning's all I do. Ooh, oh, I feel it in my veins and I'm ready to go. Adrenaline is pumping from my head to my toes. I'm stepping up strong like a king on his throne. Lights turn on and I'm ready to go. It's showtime. If you wanna go get it, gotta give it all you got and more. Come on, it's showtime. Ready or not, you better fight harder than before. Yeah, it's showtime. If you wanna go get it, gotta give it all you got and more. Oh, it's showtime. Ready or not, you better fight harder than before. Come on. Hey. Everybody, come on. It's showtime. Yeah. Yeah. I feel it in my veins and I'm ready to go. Adrenaline is pumping from my head to my toes. I'm stepping up strong like a king on his throne. Lights turn on and I'm ready to go. It's showtime. If you wanna go get it, gotta give it all you got and more. Come on, it's showtime. Ready or not, you better fight harder than before. Yeah, it's showtime. If you wanna go get it, gotta give it all you got and more. Oh, it's showtime. Ready or not, you better fight harder than before.
I could lose you like some loose change. Usually I like to kick it through the Luke Kane. Every night living life out of suitcase. Too many voices in my head to hear what you saying. That's why I'm swimming in this liquor like a pool day. That's why I'm flying out to Vegas on a Tuesday. Yeah, I might catch a couple L's, but I'm cool, J. You never know, just like the shoes say. A new wave, I am on, wonder where my mind is gone. Every time I write a song, I feel like I right or wrong. I keep running right in place, might as well enjoy the chase. Wish I knew back then what I know right now. So fresh, but I guess how I wanna.
Good to see you guys. Once. Good evening, everyone. Tell me you're not serious there. All right, well, we're going. Welcome everybody to Michigan for ERSCA. Producer Robert Hill is not streaming the race yet. So we'll get there eventually. I'm not even in the session yet. It's a late start for this one. We have championship week over in Elite. And we're closing in on the chase here in ERSCA. Going to be a wild race tonight. It's David Westergreen with Chris Wright and Robert Hill in the booth. Chris, how you doing tonight?
I am doing great. As you load in here, David, it's qualifying is just wrapping up. Got about well, it is over. Scott Crump is going to win the pole. Joe Francis, Matthew Bayou, Gavin Hibbs, Ryan Lutz are going to be the top 5. Nick Indelicato, Nick Massey, couple of Nicks sharing a row there. James Heater, Austin Beers, and Damian Leininger are going to run at the top 10. Should be a fun race tonight. 100 laps from Michigan. The way these cars drive, I'm really excited about seeing how ill handling they get on a long run.
Got to get to a long run first. They've certainly been more prone to the short runs, but we are coming off of a race at Watkins Glen. You guys broadcasted with me there where we saw Cameron Rich thoroughly dominate, but it almost went green the whole way, and we got to see some pit strategy play out, some fuel saving. We're hoping for similar outcomes here today at Michigan. Funny, he favorited my tweet earlier about it. I figured he was coming, but no Cameron Rich means a lot of opportunity to gain ground on the points leader, and Rich should be good. 2 wins, pretty big points gap, but certainly leaving an opportunity out here on the table at Michigan to get some points. Maybe we'll call him suspended like Chase Elliott. How about that? On a short vacation, as it were.
Yeah, it should be fun. One thing I noticed here too, Ryan Gavin was qualified 22nd, dead last. So he's got to pass a lot of cars tonight if he's going to have a shot to win this thing.
And he is one of the primary folks that can benefit from Cameron Rich being out. He's very high up in points, very high up in the incident count. As someone who hasn't yet won a race this season, this would be a place for him to do it. I think qualifying, he might have been overcooking it just a little bit. And losing the car on that second lap, trying to warm up with that first lap, just the way it's come in. So tough break for Ryan Gavel. We'll see if he can get through the field. 23 cars tonight. Only Andy Trupiano did not take a qualifying lap, it looks like.
Should be fun. I am curious about the fuel window. I do not have that information. Let me see what I can see here. Fuel window might be between 30 and 35 laps. That's what I would guess. They have 5 sets of tires, 1 they start with, and 4 in the pits tonight. So plenty of tires for a Michigan race. Now, I say that, and if they get a caution every 15 laps, they're going to run out of tires real quick.
Right. And tires will mean a lot in this car. With this tire model, the high horsepower wears the tires a lot. So the lap times will fall off greatly as we go through a run. You'll see these guys taking 4 tires after, like Chris said, every 10 or 15 laps, depending on those caution flags.
Yeah, and this Gen 4 car, just from what I've seen and what I know from talking to these guys and running some officials, you're ready for new tires after you get to 4th gear, no matter what track. It's a payoff to get them. So pace car is off, and we're coming down to get the green.
Scott Crump will lead us down here at Michigan to take the green flag. We are racing. Crump with a great jump on Joe Francis. Matthew Bayuk a couple car lengths back, but Francis will clear to the bottom. And he jumps back up. Got a good run. Did that 50 car. They'll go side by side into turn 1.
Couple cars lay way back off the field. I wonder if they're anticipating an early wreck right here.
Ooh, Bayuk's car a little bit loose as he tries to hang tough on that bottom lane. I think at Michigan, that second groove right in the middle of the racetrack is going to be the preferred lane in 1 and 2. That bottom lane is just so flat. It's real easy to get sideways on that thing. And then looks like here in 3 and 4, much of the same, though I imagine you'll be able to go up a little bit higher towards that wall if needed to defend a pass. Scott Crump leads lap 1, followed by Francis Bayuk and Hibbs. Ryan Lutz, the 2021 ERSCA champion, sitting back there in 5th.
Right in front of Nick Massey.
Yeah,
These
the
two
other
guys, as everything is single filed out pretty quick here.
James Heater, Damian Leininger, the first battle on track right in front of Mike Christopher and Johnny Thomas. 4 guys under a blanket there as Leininger fires it to the bottom. And that car washes up just a little bit, but he's able to keep it down. Hopefully that doesn't burn the right front tire off of that 12 car.
And right now on the straightaway, running by himself on the bottom, that's going backwards. Not quite to the effect that we would see in a next-gen car or something like that with the big ton of downforce on it, but the draft still plays effect even in these Gen 4 cars on the straightaways. They're 3 wide right here now.
Yep, Mike Christopher up to the top on Heater. Heater crosses down in front of Leininger. That makes it 2 wide. Up in front of them, Beers goes around Massey for 6th.
And all that shuffle, Johnny Thomas was also able to get around Damien.
Yeah, Damien, I think maybe saving the tires a little bit, saving the stuff. He's a guy who runs that really, really wide, 16-to-1 box. Tries to keep the tires on it over a long run, so we'll see if he can make that happen. Matthew Bayuk takes second from Joe Francis up front, and Ryan Lutz is going after Gavin Hibbs. A lot of battling here early on.
A lot of battling, but it's not for the lead as Scott Crump has pulled out to nearly half a second over Matthew, Joe Francis, Gavin, and Lutz. They're the top 5.
Saw that contact off the wall by Trupiano. I think he's going to be able to save it.
And
Second car is moving forward. Oh, contact! Narducci got spun by Landolt. I think the 98 saved it. Gavel Thomas, Dylan Thomas already has damage as well. And Kyle Hanshaw go by. Let's take a quick look at the replay. Trupiano got by Narducci down the back, and Landolt tried to follow the 7 car through here on the bottom of the track and just got into the left rear corner of Narducci.
Yeah, you say just got in. He moved up the track a full lane and a half there. Looks like he missed the corner there completely. He thought the back straightaway was a little bit longer.
Yep. Now, Matthew Bayuk cleared by Joe Francis, and we've been talking for a long time about Matthew Bayuk. I picked him a few weeks ago, and we didn't get a chance to make our picks. We got in a little bit late today, but Bayuk, one of those guys who's been hunting that first ERSCA win for a long time. Sitting here in second behind Scott Crump. Scott's one of the best to do it on those long runs. Let's see what Bayuk can do. We've seen a lot of early run speed from that 29 car, but it tends to fall off as the race wears on and as the green flag kind of lingers. Can Matthew Bayuk put together complete runs with a very fast car today? He's got a real opportunity with no Cameron Rich out there to kind of set the pace.
And a couple of guys I'm looking at, Mike Christopher has just passed Nick Massey to move up to 7th after starting outside the top 10. And Ryan Lutz, while he started 5th, he lost a couple spots on the start. He's climbed to 4th and trying to look at Joe Francis here at some point to make this pass.
This is a Ryan Lutz wheelhouse type of night. Big horsepower, a lot of low corner speed. You're going to have to take care of those tires, take care of that right rear tire. This is a Ryan Lutz special.
Well, if it's going to be a Ryan Lutz special, he's going to have to cover that ground of Scott Crump and Matthew right now because they are really clicking off some quick laps.
It could mean that they're overusing their stuff, and they're going to have to come back to the field here. As Lutz is going to take third from Francis here.
Not yet. Joe's fighting back pretty hard right now. Dead even.
It's close. We'll see who fires it off into turn 1 the hardest. It's like Lutz is going to get in there a little bit harder, but Francis has that preferred outside groove that you can use to defend. They stay dead even off the corner.
Here off of 2. Yeah, he's going to get a little bit of a run at him. Not as much as you'd like. That tells me Joe's just hanging on there, maybe a little bit loose.
Yep, and there goes Lutz. Clear through to 3rd.
Lutz might have drove down in there pretty deep, too. And now Joe's going to come back under him, and they're going to be side by side. Joe with a little bit loose there off of 4.
Battle for the lead going on as well. Matthew Bayuk to the inside of Scott Crump. So battle for 1st, battle for 3rd. All at once here. Crump up top, though, and that is the preferred line. It's going to hold Bayuk off this time.
That battle for 3rd has turned into a battle for 4th.
Beers going after Joe Francis. Gavin Hibbs right in the tire tracks of those two. Hibbs trying to take advantage and go to the top side on, I believe, points leader Austin Beers. Maybe de facto points leader. I think actually Cameron Rich got it as of last week. But as we mentioned, Cameron Rich not here tonight.
Yeah, and I believe he put in the chat there. They came back from a trip there that they took and just wore out and needed a rest, so he's not going to be here tonight. But he is tuned in and watching. So,
hi Cameron. Let's put your pick in the chat here. Who do you think's going to win this thing? As Hibbs and Beers almost make contact there off of turn 2.
Joe's really struggling getting out of the corner right now. He has gotten really loose. This thing's freed up, and he's really struggling to get the power down.
Matthew Bike just ran the top in 3, and he got a big run. Scott Crump just hit the wall. Scott Crump just bopped it off the fence. Matthew Bike's going to lead at the line. He's probably going to take the lead of this race. He does. Clears him.
11 laps in, we get the first lead change. And like you said, this track is really widened out as this tire square. I was curious if we would see that tonight because the cars have such horsepower. We're used to driving cars around here with a little bit less horsepower and a lot more downforce. With these cars having more horsepower and less downforce, you should be able to move around a lot more than we typically see in like a next gen or even an A, B, C fixed, anything like that has so much throttle time.
Exactly. Bayou taking that lead, clearing Scott Crump, trying to put some distance between himself and that 8 car. A bit of a characteristic mistake there from Scott Crump. And don't look now, but Ryan Lutz has narrowed that gap to a second from about 1.5 back when he was battling. Gavin Hibbs will clear Joe Francis for 5th.
And here comes Mike Christopher, Nick Massey, the whole line of cars coming up there behind Joe now as he's already lost a couple spots. And as you lose rear grip, that right rear is not going to get better as you move forward at this point, so he's going to lose rear grip the rest of this run.
A guy that's absolutely flying through the field right now. We mentioned him a couple of times. Andy Trupiano is up to 14th from dead last on the field in 23rd. That is a monster run through the field early in this race. And one we've seen from Trupiano. He climbed through the field 2 weeks ago.
Again, Scott Crump's trying to take it back.
Bayou has
Not
that
enough room to slide up, though.
Big battle for the lead once again, and this is going to just allow Ryan Lutz and Austin Beers to drive right up to these two. This is what you're seeing with this Gen 4 car. The ability to run side by side, to clear each other, to make some adjustments inside the car, and get those bigger runs off the corner. Scott Crump clears Matthew Bayou for the lead once again, so Bayou led 2 laps. Give it back to Scott Crump, the pole sitter.
Yeah, and like I said, as these cars lose grip, it takes you can let it cool off and get some of it back, but as many times as I've seen somebody like Joe Francis slide, that's probably not coming back. But I think Scott maybe had one big slide and he really backed down and let it cool back off, and he had the ability to do that and move back around the 29. Ryan Lutz, I haven't really seen him slide too much, so he's probably taking good care of those tires. Taking a look here at a couple of Do-Good Motorsport teammates, Michael Goodman and Gerald Campbell.
Volkswagens are back tonight.
That's a battle for 16th right now.
About 4.5 seconds off the lead. Now almost 5, so they were battling side by side there. This race has single filed out, got that green flag feel to it. We'll start thinking about pit stops here soon. For now, it's got Crump out in front of Matthew Bayou. Ryan Lutz has been able to chop a couple of tenths out of that lead, but has not closed a ton. My other thought is that this is the portion of the run where we've seen Matthew Bayou fall off this season at both Charlotte and Nashville, and we saw Bayou up in front leading the race. That car really good for the first 15 or 20 laps of those runs, and then he kind of fell back to about 5th or 6th, and then ended up finishing there because he could never get that track position back.
Yes, Nick Massey moves around Mike Christopher.
Man, Gavin Hibbs almost loses it there off of 2. He and Austin Beers were both dancing up the racetrack on the corner exit. These cars are starting to get really, really loose on these guys as these tires wear.
Yeah, and like I said, these tires really give up the right rear, so a lot of guys will start sliding around. One guy I'm surprised that hasn't made any real ground up is Brian Gavin. I'm not sure if he's going to have some damage. Just fell off the pack here. He's kind of almost learning on the fly. Car looks clean.
I believe Ryan Gavel started off a couple of seconds off the field. That or he was checked up by whatever happened to Dylan Thomas, whose car does have some right rear damage early in the race when Ryan missed it.
Yeah, and Gavel's one of those guys that is typically up towards the front, so I am sure he'll figure out a way to try to play some kind of strategy and give himself some kind of shot here at the end of this thing. As now Joe Francis is about to fall into the clutches of Nick Massey.
Yeah, so on the very start of the race, Gavel got into Dylan Thomas, and that's where the damage came from on that tier 3 car. I had to go back and look for it, but that's what happened.
Well, there you go. The great David Westergreen able to go take a look.
Scott Crump has opened up the lead. Matthew Bayuk has fallen right into the clutches of Ryan Lutz as we do get a replay and look back. Thanks, Robert. We'll check up here, stack up on the start of the race, and it just kind of accordions back. Gerald set, check, Hanshaw checks, Gavel up top, and then a little bit of net code, and sends Dylan to the outside wall.
Yeah, that's frustrating.
Yep. Second place, Ryan Lutz goes by Matthew Bayuk. No contest. Bayuk falling back. I think the tires have been worn out on that 29 car. It's lap 20. It's time for the 29 to start falling back. The other guy who's starting to fall back is Mike Christopher. He lost 7th to Nick Massey. He's now losing 8th to Nick Delacotto.
Yeah, and one thing of interest here is Nick Massey was kind of falling back at the start. Now he's driven up here and he's behind Joe Francis, and I got word from the pit. Oh, we got a spinner back here. It's Damien.
Oh,
Coming through the grass. Oh, he had it saved, and he's going to spin it now. Maybe he's going to spin it.
He got into Ryan Barbieri right there. That's where the damage came from on the right front of that 12 car. Looks like he just misjudged it.
And I believe that's teammates, correct?
I don't know if they're working together tonight, but in
Definitely
theory,
doesn't look like they're working together right there.
Yeah, I don't know that they're working together this evening. They have in the past. Ryan Lutz leads a gaggle of cars trying to hunt down Scott Crump. Matthew Bayuk is losing spots rapidly. He's lost 3rd to Beers, 4th to Hibbs. He's about to lose 5th to Francis, who has kind of stifled his drop and is now starting to come back with some speed towards the front.
Yeah, but now we're going to see him try to pull low and make a pass. Does he have the rear grip to be able to make this pass?
I wouldn't get out in front of Nick Massey, but Massey got loose too. Everybody's having a struggle with this car right now.
We got a big wreck on the backstretch, boys.
Nope, Dawson's out.
It's Gerald Campbell.
Gerald for sure. And Barbieri, yep. The ones. And it's going to be Gerald getting loose off the corner. And
Well, Barbieri got loose too. They both get loose, but Gerald's loose, got over into the 15.
Yeah, right there, and they both end up sideways. Gerald ends up spinning down to the apron here, and just like that, the 15, the 31, and the 12 all have damage. Caution out for the first time, and I believe everyone's coming down pit road for 4 fresh tires.
And that's the Barbie car. I don't know if he's supporting the new Barbie movie that's coming out or not, but...
Well, we are under caution here. Just a note for tonight's race, these drivers are racing for a Manscaped prize package here tonight. So the winner will go home with a prize pack from Manscaped. So thanks to Manscaped for coming on board tonight.
Exactly, yeah, this is the Manscaped 200. I didn't call it that at the beginning of the race. This is the Manscaped 200. We're on 100 laps in Michigan tonight. What are we, 20 laps? So 80 laps to go. First of 5 tire sets.
So what's in a Manscaped prize package? What do you get?
I do not know. I think I know the monetary value of said prize package.
You get the specific tools to properly manscape, Chris. I think it comes with some boxers and some various tools that you might need, maybe some lotions and whatnot. Not too sure. Check out manscaped.com and let them know that ERSCA sent you.
We'll have to get the race winner to show us the prize pack. Tweet a picture of it or something.
Well, you got to be careful. You got to be
definitely not the results of the work.
You don't want a picture of it while it's being
exactly.
used.
Drew Eisenman and Parker Landolt stayed on the racetrack. Think they'll be coming in next time by. First off pit road, I believe, will be Scott Crump, followed by Lutz, then Hibbs, then Beers, then Francis and Delacotto, Bayuk, and Massey. Big change there is that Hibbs bypasses Beers on pit road. The rest of those guys that all had incidents there, Narducci, Leininger, Campbell, and Barbieri, they're able to get that damage fixed. Worth noting, I think, that iRacing is coming out with that update tomorrow, and we were looking. I'm sure everybody in this league was looking to see if they would do any Gen 4 updates, try to maybe modify these bodies or mess with the tire compound or something. But it would appear that no changes were mentioned with this update for this car. So the racing should stay the same through the rest of the ERSCA season, as I don't think the season lasts until the next build. Rumors got
No,
there,
I
though.
believe there's 8 weeks left in the season, so no, that wouldn't lead to the
Yeah.
next build.
In that 13 weeks between builds, something like that, maybe.
Yes.
Not crazy. All right.
Yeah, usually week 13 we get a new build.
Right. So, yeah, and I think at some point the plan for using this car is to try and add some more templates to it, right? Have the Gen 4 Super Speedway body, have the short track body with the brake ducts out the front. Try to make this car a little bit more true to the time it was at, rather than just kind of be that modification to the scanned Xfinity car that it is from, like, I think 2009. So, I like where this is. We're having fun with the series, and I'm really excited about this extra horsepower in this car, but I am hoping that they are able to make this thing a little bit more true to the Gen 4 car. Resetting after the caution. Looks like Trump's going to take the bottom. I bet he'll jump real early. I believe that ERSCA does not have the restart zone in place. So then the leader can go as soon as the pace car leaves and heads to pit road.
Yeah, and everybody got new tires here. It is still not a window. It is still a 2-stop race from here. There's still about 10 laps or so out of a window to make it all the way.
Cockrum gets a huge jump before the restart zone. That will pull Gavin Hibbs alongside Ryan Lutz. That's going to be the battle for second there. Can that 9 car get alongside Ryan Lutz? He cannot. Lutz with a strong run off turn 2. Oh, man, nope. Gibbs is able to get there. They almost make contact.
They're 3 wide. Or not back to 2.
And Austin Beers gets underneath Hibbs. Hibbs' car gets tight. Comes up behind 36. Beers fires it in there, and he'll take third from Gavin Hibbs. He's behind Scott Crump.
And now everybody back to Ryan Gavel. Single filed out already.
Gavel definitely thanking his stars for that caution. Able to get himself some track position up to 13.
Oh, look, and Damian Leininger. That's going to end his race.
Another one for Leininger.
There's nothing left on the front of that car. It is destroyed.
I wonder if that's not some retaliation.
It definitely looks to be.
Wondering if that's not some retaliation there.
Yeah, those teammates definitely are not working together.
I do not believe they are teammates at this point in time. So that wheel turns to the right. He's keeping him close, and then
Yeah.
a little like a bit of a right turn to me.
Yeah, and he might not hit his brake pedal either.
I think he was running him tight, and then he was like, well, we're already making contact. I think Damian's the incident count leader in this series this season. Just has not been fortunate whatsoever. And a couple of those incidents, he's made some. He's been an integral part of starting those incidents, but a few of them, like I remember at Nashville, he just got run over coming to pit road, right? And then this one, he bumps into Barbieri and
so I will
spin.
I will actually let you know the leader of the incident points is Ryan Barbieri, followed by Damian Leininger. So both of those drivers just added to their count.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. See if there's additional contact here. There it is. Oh. Just because Johnny Eckert's not here, we got some extracurriculars.
Let's see if it continues here.
Yeah, and they are now wrecking each other on pit road. This is not ideal.
We're gonna call it good TV and move it from there. Those cars are pretty damaged. I think they'll be off the racetrack the rest of the race, and we'll be able to focus on the front battle, which has been really good so far. Crump with that big jump on the inside. This time he takes the outside. So I wonder if Crump's kind of trying to pick the lane Austin Beers is not in. That's what he's done both times.
Yeah, Crump's going to take the inside once again. No, the outside, sorry. He's going to take the outside. Lutz hoping for a better start this time than he had last time too. Lutz is gonna go to work at it and try to do better this time. This time they got a little laps on their tires. Might see some wheel spin as the leader is gone.
Yeah, it's tough in this series, and I think that's one of the reasons that iRacing put in the start zone. It was a big advantage to the race leader. We saw it, throughout the last couple of seasons in ERSCA. The race leader just got a massive jump every time, and Scott Crump gets another one here. Ryan Lutz clears to second, Beers to third, Hibbs to fourth, and Nick Indelicato now clears to fifth. There's the battle for sixth, Christopher and Joe Francis. Christopher's been good on these short runs. He just cleared both of them. 82 car running really hard here on the early part of this run. I think that will come back to bite him if this race goes green.
Well, it might, but these pit cycles can get broken up and be pretty generous with tires with how many laps they can run on fuel. Like, everybody has to stop twice, not once. So you can only, you want to split these runs up into 30 and 20, 25 and 25. You don't really have to go any more than 25 laps on tires the rest of this race.
So you can push him a little more. I think that's what Matthew Bayek wants to hear. That car is really good for the first 20 laps of the run, and then it falls off. But I think Bayek's trying to save a little more here now that he's back further in the pack, and unfortunately that just ends up putting him in the clutches of the likes of Johnny Thomas, Nick Massey, and Andy Trupiano.
I thought Nick Massey might look 3 wide there.
Massey very controlled. Doesn't take that move too early in the race. Lets Johnny and Bayou sort it out here right in front of him. Would maybe pick up the pace just a little bit, though. The leaders are starting to get away a little bit.
Scott Crump, Lutz out there, Beers side by side for fourth.
Christopher going after Gavin Hibbs as a cloud comes over the track. That'll grip these cars up, give them about a lap of tighter condition. Just as quickly as it's here, it's gone again. After that slick surface.
No rain yet, right? Rain might be coming soon. I don't know if anybody wants to use it at Michigan, but it would definitely be interesting if they got down to turn 3 one time and it was wet.
Is it coming tomorrow? Do we know?
And it would be a big surprise if it was. I don't know if it would be something they would drop one on the side of nowhere. Guess we'll find out tomorrow, right?
Another cloud hits, track temp dropped a degree, right? So 119 when it's in the sun, 118 in the cloud. And yeah, it will be interesting to see tomorrow if that rain is part of it. I don't think anybody's heard that it is, so it'll be a little bit bigger of a noteworthy item if it was. Battle is tightening up for the lead. First 3 under a blanket here as Scott Crump did not pull away quite as the same as he did on that first run. Ryan Lutz, Austin Beers hounding the 8 car.
We got a top. Is that Narducci?
It is Brian Narducci, who has already, I guess, near spun one time in this race. Dylan Thomas with him there. Let's see if that's a loose car. Yep, loosed up. Came right up the track into the 03.
And the 03 said, "Sorry, sir." I hope you don't hit anything down there, but he will slide down in nose into the inside wall.
Dylan maybe could have cracked the throttle there down the back straightaway and saved him that, but I bet if we go on board with it, he might not have had time to do anything because the 98 came up right in front of him and then he was gone. Is he on board here? Low, low, low. Here he comes in front. Dylan's trying to save the car at this point too. Look at that thing. And then he's already underneath him. I'm not sure there was much of Dylan could have done there.
So what this does is I said, everybody can go hard on tires because it's going to break up nicely. Well, now we're pitting right on the inside of the window to make it a one more stop. So each run, they're going to have to go about at least 33, 35 laps right in that window. So this is going to make it where tire saving is going to be king here.
Here comes Lutz, and they leave Crump out to dry. Lutz, Beers down pit road, Hibbs not. The whole field is coming down pit road.
Yeah, I'm
Scott
not sure
Crump
about
stayed
staying
out.
out here. This is in the fuel window now, so.
Guys, just 6 cars stayed out here. Everyone else down pit road.
It is Crump, Hibbs, and Christopher, the first ones out. See, here's the thing, right? If Scott Crump comes down pit road, how many cars stay out there? I'm willing to bet more. Maybe 10 or 15 stay out. If Crump pits there, or if Crump stays out here, then you see 6 cars, everybody came down. But I don't know. I feel like I would have been running my own race and trying to pit here, make sure I can make it on one more stop. But
yeah, with the fuel window opening up, I feel like you got to right there. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like that's a time to pit because now, I mean, what's the best case scenario if you're those guys? Right. I mean, if you run 5 laps and get a caution, you're going to pit and they're going to stay out and you're going to have to work around them. Yeah, 5 lap fresher tires is nice, but you have to pass most of the field. And if it runs green, everybody's got tires, and they're going to blow you away. And then if there's a caution in 25 laps, everybody's still got 2 sets of lane. They can pit again at 40 to go and still have a set to use.
Yeah, I think I'm pitting there. I really do. Just feels like the right move once you can make it. Ensure you can make it on one stop. Keep the fresh tires. You know, they've only got what looks like 5 cars to go through here. Do you have the info, Robert? Did Trupiano take tires?
I don't think Johnny Thomas took tires either.
Let's take a look.
I think there was a bunch of fuel only here.
Yeah, Johnny Thomas was the second one off pit road. Gavel's the third one off pit road. So, you know, either those guys took 2 or just took fuel because they can make it from here. Lutz is the 4th one off pit road. So Lutz actually does have to go farther through the field here.
Gavel got 2 right sides.
Interesting. We'll see how that kind of plays out.
Johnny Thomas 2 right side tires on that machine as well.
If they raise this 7 car. Nope, no raising. That's a fuel only stop for Andy Trupiano, so he does not have fresh tires. Let's see how much tires matter. This will be a good information gathering run to see, because our initial thought is that Lutz and Beers are just going to have more grip and are going to be able to blow these guys away, but I don't know if that's the case. They only got a few laps on it.
I think the 4 tire guys are going to be leading this race in 5 laps.
I think tires will make a difference, but what is to watch here is you have some good guys like Trupiano. They came down pit road, no tires, just fuel. It'll be interesting to see how far back he does fall, if he falls at all.
I'm very interested here because there's only a few laps. I'm thinking only like 8 or 9 green flag laps here on these tires, and they've been through 2 cycles now. This is the 3rd caution.
I will say this: the right sides did have some pretty good wear from the 48.
That's a 20 lap run, right? I mean, or do you mean just this run?
This past run, the short runs here.
Here we go. Green flag is out. Crump with another big jump. Hibbs to second, Campbell third. Christopher coming after him. Let's check the progress of these guys. Their big advantage is going to be into turn 1, and Beers drives right around Gavel like he's standing still. Just gonna gotta keep the camera right on that 19 car and that 36. Those are gonna be the 2 to watch here. Those guys are already aggressive on the short run. They're gonna be even more aggressive when they've got the fresh tires and they know what they're going for here.
Yeah, and Gavel, I believe, is the first car on 4 tires right now, working his way through some of this.
Beers is ahead of him here. Beers is at 3rd place.
Oh, did Beers also get through?
Yeah, Beers got 4.
Beers is about ready to crack the top 3.
Yep. Lutz bottled up a little more in traffic. I think Francis is going to be the 3rd car on tires here when it's all said and done. Lutz, the high side, the low side, got into Gavel.
Not enough room there for a car.
All right, Lutz can't find a way through. Boston Beers drove right round everybody. He's up to 2nd right now, going after Gavin Hibbs. Beers much stronger through the traffic than Lutz is early in this one.
Lutz stuck behind Gerald Campbell, who stayed out on old tires. Gavel's on. Here we go. 3 wide. The guy on top got none. Middle 4, and the bottom on 2.
Bottom on 2. Bottom with 2 tires, you're already loose. That bottom lane also can loosen you up. Gavel looks like he held it pretty good there. He's going to clear Gerald Campbell off of 2. You guys are racing like there's 15 laps to go with 40 more or 60 more.
And up front looking for the lead is Beers. He's moved into 2nd.
Yep, this is the power of 4 that we were wondering if they've got it. Beers has it. Lutz is going after 4th from Christopher, but he's already almost a 2nd behind Austin Beers, who's going to go for the lead here to turn 1. Side by side, Crump trying to hold that outside lane, but those older tires just not strong enough. Give the lead to Austin Beers. Another guy who can really benefit from Cameron Rich not being here.
And here comes Lutz taking 3rd.
Yep. From Hibbs. Lutz was able to close up just from Crump holding Beers side by side through turn 1. Lutz was able to close a lot of the gap he had lost to Beers working through traffic. Beers setting sail, already pulled 2/10 on Crump. Here comes Lutz to the inside of the 8 car. Side by side down the back, just behind Austin Beers for the lead. Ryan Lutz will clear Scott Crump, move the 36 to 2nd. And he picked up a bunch of ground entering turn 3.
And they are 3 wide right around Johnny Thomas right now. Business
Yano's
is
loose! Oh! I said these guys are racing like there's 15 to go. A lot of them smell blood in the water with the guys who are slower, with the older tires. Trying to take advantage of it, trying to get themselves some track position. Hill going 3 wide down the back. Thomas bails out of it. I'm not sure if he saw something he didn't like or got loose coming off of 2 or what. Johnny Thomas going to the back. Bayuk 3 wide with Francis. Just behind Christopher, they end up 2 wide. And Bayuk's the one here with 4 tires. Oh man, that is close through turn 2. Matthew Bayuk clears. Here's the battle for the lead.
2 tires everywhere right now, and like you said, battle for the lead between what we think are teammates.
There they go. Lutz bypasses Beers. Ryan Lutz hasn't been there the whole season. I don't know if he'll be able to get into the championship hunt. But this is a guy who's won an ERSCA championship already, and he's got a lot of race pace. First time we've seen him out front this season. Along with Indelicato and Bayuk as they try to clear through the traffic of guys who are... Oh, Gavel got real loose off of 2. Guys who are on the older tires. Gavin Hibbs now holding up Bayuk.
Yeah, the race is definitely picking up right here, right now.
I'd be surprised if they can make it. Leininger back out on track. 3 wide, twice. 2 different sets of 3 wide. Christopher Gavel and Heater in the back. Delicato Bayuk Hibbs in the front. Still 3 wide. They enter turn 1. 3 wide.
They're running everywhere. I don't know how long they can keep this up.
Looks like Auto Club out here. They got people in the high lane, people in the low lane. Francis loose off of 2. Guys are making use of every single one of those. What are they? 800 horsepower. Seth Rawls up to the top, going 3 wide, trying to get around him.
And every lane too. They're making use of this wide track is getting used everywhere right now.
Thomas trying to move forward. Heater trying to move forward. Rawls still going on top, hunting that outside. You watch Crump falling back. I just think not pitting, not the right move.
Oh, and Crump's in a bad spot now. They've put him middle 3. That's not going to be a great spot here off of 2.
Francis is trapped on the bottom. He's been trying to get up and try. He's got 4 tires. He can get by these guys quicker, but he's lost a spot to Delicato. He's lost a spot to Bayuk. He's lost one to Rawls now. He just can't get that 50 car to wrap the bottom like these guys that can wrap the tops. Now he's 3 wide and he's stuck because Heater's going to take the spot from him.
It's almost like a pack race out here. And right now, Crump is backing up at the front of that pack.
Yep.
As you can see, they kind of get strung out after they get around Crump.
Yeah, Francis finally cleared Crump. Took him a long time. But now he's still got to go back up to the top. Remember Johnny Thomas fell back there? He's back up in 10th. Just bypassed Hibbs.
And that's pretty sporty out of Johnny, knowing he's only on 2 right side tires right there as well.
Francis clears Johnny, so Joe finally gets to move up to the top of the racetrack. It really looks like that very, very outside line seems to be the way to go. I think Seth Rawls passed like 10 cars. He was about 15th on that first run. He's up in 5th right now. The higher you are, I think the better you are in these kind of big packs.
Ooh,
Both
Johnny gets a
Thomas-
little bit loose.
And both Thomas is loose off of 2 there. Dylan Thomas clears Scott Crump. Ryan Gavel's going to clear Scott Crump. Massey's about to clear Crump.
Yeah, right now Crump is paying the price for not coming and getting these tires.
He is, and that's a car that
And
led.
even 2 tires. It looks like 2 tires is not a bad call.
Gavel did fall back. He had. I wonder if that car was a little ill handling at the start of the run though, for Gavel, because he went back pretty quickly. He's rebounded to 10th. He did not start there. He was what, 6th on the restart or something. So.
Yeah, but we saw Johnny get loose too. Maybe they took off a little freer, but now it's kind of came. Johnny's real loose here. Big moment there for JT.
And Gavel too. Gavel had to jump to the apron to try to avoid him. Now back up to the top to try to get around Massey is Ryan Gavel. Nick Massey's saving the right front tire on that 48 car. He hadn't been making those bonsai moves, and that 48 car's moving in, deeper into the top 10. Not surprising in the slightest.
Yeah, Nick's really being patient right now. Trying to see what he's got.
Francis up ahead, putting pressure on James Heater for 6th. In case you wanted an update on the lead, as there goes Francis around Heater up top. They're about where we left them. Ryan Lutz leading Austin Beers, just a 10th or 2 between them. They've been kind of mirroring lap times. Nick and Delicato's about a 1.5 seconds off them in 3rd. And it's about another 2nd back to Matthew Bayuk and Seth Rawls in 4th and 5th. Back to that battle for 6th. Francis cleared Heater. Dylan Thomas on the outside of the 11 car.
And one thing of note here, I thought those guys were in their window. They are not getting the fuel mileage that they thought they would get. Everyone is still about 5 laps short, 6 laps short of making it to the end on one more stop.
The only man who wanted to hear that was Scott Crump. Because then he doesn't look quite so off for making that call. Nick Massey also clears James Heater here. Yeah, I think because now the tires are about settled out. Crump's not falling anymore. He's not holding anybody up anymore. Back to 12th. But the advantage is that he has an extra set of tires and everybody else has to pit the same amount of times he does, and he's going to get an undercut on them because he has to pit before they do. How much is that undercut worth? Will that undercut work out? I mean, they all do have to pit 2 more times. it could work. Crump's fighting back. He's trying to get 11th from Johnny. The 2-tire guys are starting to fade a little bit here. Crump's working back underneath them, and Hibbs has got to run as well.
It will be very interesting. They're reworking some numbers down there. Going to get another better look at it here soon, I think.
Hibbs bypasses Johnny. Gavel's just in front of Scott. So yeah, this Scott's running 40.6. Gavel's last lap was 40.8. Heater's last lap was 40.8. So Crump's been, you know, he's got older tires, but everyone else's tires are old now too. This is where things start to equal out and Crump can start to move back forward. Just about everybody in the top 10 is in the 4.6s, with the exception of the 2 liters and Nick Massey.
Hey guys, just an update on Andy Trupiano. Took no fuel on the last pit stop, has fallen now to position number 18, so big drop for Trupiano.
All Robert.
I believe you mean just fuel, right? Not no fuel.
Yeah, just fuel.
Just fuel, yeah, no tires.
No tires. Nick Delicato's taking a decent 2/10 bite out of the lead as he tries to run down Lutz and Beers. Took another 10th out right there. Delicato was the fastest among the top 3 that time by. Crump going after Gavel, that's for 10th. Gavel's on 2 rights. Crump on no tires. Will need to pit coming up pretty soon.
Yeah,
Probably.
Crump is within about 8 to 10 of a pit stop right here.
And as soon as you can kind of ensure you know you can make it on that one more stop, you know, you're going to pit, you're going to divide this
Crump's
run
not
up and
making it
go.
one more stop. Not
Better
pitting
get-
that last time. He's not making it on one more stop.
So, and what I mean is, when you know you can divide that last second run here into 20 laps, 25 laps, and 25 laps, something that you can really go hard in both stints. That's what Crump's got to go for.
Yeah, I think he's got to stay out there and hope for a caution. I mean, we'll see. I'm trying to help work some math myself here.
Depends on whether these guys can make it from here on one more stop. The rest of the guys, if they can, then Crump's out of luck, barring a caution flag.
Okay, so based on what I'm getting here, all of these guys are right on the money to make it on one more stop. So Crump is going to be about 5 to 7 laps short of that.
Yeah, it's a battle for the lead up front. It's gonna be close. And that's what we like to see at Michigan. Is Austin Beers was kind of just in Ryan Lutz's mirror there. Lutz drives it back in, trying to go back after Beers. Well, the guys racing hard like they always do. At the line, it will be a lead change by 5/1000ths of a second.
Anybody who pits north of 35 to go or at 35 to go is probably not going to make it. I mean, you would have to save about 2 or 3 laps if you pit anywhere before 35 to go.
Beers clears Lutz for the lead. This is a battle for the leader of the cars that do not have tires between Crump and Christopher.
I believe the 9's coming to pit road. They are throwing it out, saying that they are going to come and go ahead and try to maximize these last 2 runs.
You gotta go for the undercut here and hope that people have to save fuel, right? I mean, you gotta go really, really hard, pit again, go really, really hard, see if you can't make up the ground on people, on really old tires and then saving. But it's going to be tough. Beers and Lutz still side by side for the lead. Nick and Delicato now just 7/10ths back.
And I believe the
And
82
closing.
team is on the pit wall now too. They are going to go ahead and come in as well.
Christopher technically loses the battle to Crump here if he does bail for pit road. And he will. So Crump remains the top car on no tires, but he does stay out another lap. The battle for the lead rages on, and Delicato has joined it. He's inside of Austin Beers for second. Those two got to battling, and they just brought that one car right up to him. Joe Francis has gotten around Seth Rawls for fifth. Nick Massey is right on their bumper as well.
I think Scott Crump is going to come this time, boys.
Yep.
This tells the tale. He's going to be about 8 laps shy of making it, and you're not going to save that over the course of a run.
No, he's gonna have to pit twice. But if people have to save, and they're going to be out on old tires, he can make up some ground. It's just a matter of how much can you make up. And typically, that's not enough. Delicato 4 is about 2/10 back now from Lutz. These guys will pit in, like 8 laps probably? 9 laps? Something like that.
Based on what I'm looking at, these boys are going to get right to the edge of the window, which is going to be about 33, 34 to go.
So, 5 laps.
Nick Massey just made a great move there to drive himself up into the top 5.
Yep, and he is coming to that 48 car is very quick right now. Ryan Lutz, the leader, ran a 40.8. Nick Delicato second, ran a 40.8. Nick Massey in fifth, ran a 40.8.
Nick's all over the back of Matthew Bayuk now.
Through Eisenman to pit road. See if any of these guys want to come yet. You mentioned the fuel window at minimum is probably 35 to go. So that's at least 3 more laps. These guys are going to be out there. Yeah.
I think 33 is about as much as you could go without saving anything and just running normal.
All those guys, Hibbs, Crump, Christopher, Campbell, they are all 1 lap down. As well as a result of pitting when they did. So if a caution came out now, they would need to take the wave around, and it would pretty significantly hamper their ability to finish this race off with a good result.
Yeah, but they're flying through it. Gavin Hibbs is about to unlap himself, as he does right there. Crump is coming right now. He is passing our new 4th place runner, Nick Massey.
Oh!
Delicato around.
Gonna be a caution? Yes,
Yep.
It is. He gets back up on the track. So did Hibbs unlap himself? He did. Gavin Hibbs in. He'll almost certainly come get gassed with the rest of the field. Did Delicato just lose it?
He got into the side of Austin Beers. Let's load up the replay here.
Scott Crump will get the free pass. So he will be able to come get gas. Did Beers hit the wall and come down? Yeah. Looks like Beers just came down and door slammed it. Tough break. Delicato had driven up there. It looked like Beers' car had settled and straightened out coming off corner exit, and then he made like a corrective movement just after, like the car lost grip.
Wow, Gavin Hibbs had just gotten by when the caution came out. Lucky for Gavin.
Yep. Great break for Gavin Hibbs.
And this caution really doesn't work out for anybody. The guys who just pitted, they don't want to see this. And the guys who hadn't pitted yet, they don't want to see this. Nobody wanted to see this caution right now.
Right. It equal foots. Crump will get the lucky dog, so he'll be able to pit with the leaders and get fuel. But Christopher, Campbell, Barbieri, Goodman, and Eisenman had all pitted and are all 1 lap down. They will have to take the wave around. They will not be able to pick up fuel. That's a tough break for those guys, and I think they'll just need some more cautions, but that's certainly a possibility given the way they were racing on our restart on lap 40. They were going all out, and I think we'll see more of the same here on these next couple of restarts. I'm going ahead and calling the cautions. They're coming. Here comes everybody who had pitted that previous time. All that, and Delicato only fell to 11th. I think he is not at all out of this race. Pit road exit. everybody's going to get 4 tires and fill it up full of fuel this time. Ryan Lutz out first. Ryan Lutz will retain the lead. Beers second, Bayuk third. Looks like Massey lost a spot or two. Came in third there, went out behind several, and I think Hibbs came, grabbed some more fuel. Probably didn't grab tires. Only got a lap or 2 on him. Yeah, I would say that caution worked out well for Hibbs exclusively. He's back in the top 5.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting to see what Gavin Hibbs can do on some fresh tires here, as well as on the same strategy now as these race leaders. He was looking pretty sporty before the caution, so it'll be interesting to see how far he can get up.
Yeah, he's gonna be on defense here for sure, but okay, no, Scott
Johnny
Crump did get the
Thomas.
lucky dog.
Johnny Thomas topping off the fuel tank here.
I think they can all make it though, right? Surely. Thomas, Trupiano, and Narducci make it. You know, I say that, but I feel it. I feel the caution. I feel it in my soul. Watched enough ERSCA to know these guys are about to get crazy and wild.
Yeah, this is going to be very interesting.
Well, Ryan Lutz, the race leader. Austin Beers is second. They've been 1-2 for the majority of the middle part of this race. Matthew Bayek will restart third. His teammate Seth Rawls will restart fourth. Joe Francis will restart in fifth. He's been up there all day. Gavin Hibbs will restart sixth with a couple of lap older tires. Nick Massey is going to restart seventh. James Heater eighth. Ryan Gavel ninth. And this is, I think, going to be the first time Ryan Gavel's been in the top 10 on the same strategy as everyone around him. Dylan Thomas will be in 10th. Nick Indelicato, after the spin, will fall to 11th.
It's going to be really interesting to see what happens here. I like the call by Johnny Thomas to come and top off. I like that. If it goes green, Johnny might be the guy to watch here.
Yep. Johnny and Trupiano both. Those guys are going to be in a good shape, depending, of course, on it going green, as Ryan Lutz takes the green flag, gets a big jump on Austin Beers, and away we go with just 32 laps to go.
Our front 5, 6 already single file done in the turn 1.
Yeah, behind them, I don't think it's going to stay single file. Here comes Peter up top on Massey. And Hibbs up top on Francis. Crump jumped around Johnny Thomas quickly. Trupiano's going after Johnny back there as well.
Lead change down into turn 3.
Whoa. Austin Beers is very, very strong in these short runs. First couple of laps, that 19 car can get into the corner better than anyone else in the field.
And Nick Indelicato trying to go 3 wide with Nick.
Massey is struggling right now. That 48 car, he does not like to push it on those new tires. Doesn't like to wear those things out too quickly, but it's cost him badly here. He is outside the top 10.
Well, and Nick Massey's a smart guy. He knows right now, hey, we're a little bit short on fuel, just by a lap or 2. I can save a little bit of fuel right here at the start of the run, and it saves the tires too. Nick Massey is, this is not his first rodeo with the fuel mileage deal.
Right, and I wonder if some of these guys are thinking they're short, or if they're thinking, we're going to get a caution, let's go ahead and run hard. I'm imagining there's several different strategies up here in this top 10. I mean, up front, you're looking at Beers and Lutz. They're running 39.2s. So those guys are not saving right now. They are going hard. Nick Massey ran a 39.7 last time. That car is definitely not optimizing its performance at this moment.
It will be interesting to see how this plays out. I kind of hope we go green to the end so we can see it play out.
No, I absolutely do. I'm trying to reverse
I'd love to
jinx
see a good old vintage Michigan fuel mileage race.
Say that Dylan Thomas puts it in the fence. He's okay though. He's clean.
No fuel saving there, huh?
No, not at all. Funny, it's funny how this car can get so tight and so loose all at the same time, right? We've seen these guys wiggling it out of the corner down the back straightaway, and then right there, Dylan Thomas's car pushes up and bops off the fence with a clear, tight condition.
Yeah, and sometimes it'll look tight, and you'll be like, man, what happened? You just took off there and started plowing, and the driver will tell you, no, it was loose. I was afraid to turn the wheel. I just kind of drove it into the wall because I felt like if I turned the wheel, I was going to wreck it.
Trying to steer with the throttle there. It's like Thomas's car's about a 2/10 slower than it was. Maybe just a little bit of damage, but he's able to keep in touch with Nick and Delicato there. Up front, Matthew Bayuk going after Seth Rawls, or actually, that's Rawls going after his teammate Bayuk. Goes ahead and they sort themselves out as James Heater closes in on the 25 car. First noise we've seen of James Heater in the top 5 in an ERSCA race this season. He's been hovering around the top 10 in a number of these events, but hasn't really made his presence felt.
Yeah, and he's going to take a spot there. It looks like maybe some fuel saving going on there inside of one of those cars.
Seth Rawls let him go as well. A little bit of a courtesy there.
It looked like
25?
he punched that thing about 3/4 of the way down the front stretch and said, I'm going to go ahead and roll on into turn 1.
Take advantage of letting someone by and saving the fuel all at once. You love to see it. There's another battle for the race lead as these two continue to duke it out. They've been duking it out, going back and forth. They haven't touched each other yet.
And, you know, I know that, I'm sure you can speak to this too, David. It is easy to save fuel on the start of a run. You just don't drive it in as hard, don't use as much throttle. When you got all the grip in the world, it is easy to save fuel. Where it gets difficult is if you wait until 10 or 15 to go and you have to save 2 laps of fuel when the car's already driving bad. You're not saving the fuel at that point in the run.
Yeah, the advantage is that as your pace slows down, you also use less fuel. So, when you're gonna be going slower on the older tires, not burning as much fuel, you're not able to get back to the gas as quickly. And your partial throttle, anything you do that's not full out, that's going to save you some gas.
So it will be interesting to see how this shakes out, as some guys have really, I'm looking at Joe Francis has really backed off. So is the 9. Like, these guys all of a sudden have started really backing it down.
And remember, Gavin he came just for fuel, but he already has a disadvantage to the cars around him in tires. So that may have been a calculated move from Gavin to get away from that front group who's maybe driving their pace up. We know they're close, but are they going to run out is the big question.
Yeah, and we saw Nick Massey save from the drop. So I feel pretty good about Nick's situation. Joe and some of these guys here that are dropping back. Look how far Joe Francis has given up every lap right now.
Joe's giving up a full second to Massey in lap time.
Yeah, Joe all of a sudden said, you know what, I'm going to save my fuel right now.
Hibbs is also giving up a lot of time right now.
Ooh, Nick and Delicato, big slide there off of turn 2.
Delicato's trying to get back to the front, right? I think he's feeling he feels the pressure to fight through and get the track position back. He and Dylan Thomas have been side by side since the beginning of this run, back when Dylan smacked the wall. 03 car seems to be driving okay after that.
The racing at the front is getting ever more intense, as now, as you get down inside 20 to go, a lot more of these guys will notice, oh man, I need this much fuel to make it to the end or whatnot. Right now, I wouldn't want to be in the front of this line like Ryan Lutz is or Beers. I would want to be back where Nick Massey is or where Ryan Gavel is or Dylan Thomas. Those guys back there, they're getting a little bit of a pull in the straightaway, albeit not that much, but just a little bit of help in the fuel number.
Worth noting, Andy Trupiano has separated himself from that back group. So to remember, Trupiano, Johnny Thomas came down topped off with 1 to go. Trupiano leading that group that has topped off, also leading the guys who are kind of clearly saving in Francis, Hibbs, some of those others. So if
and
anybody's
everybody's got one set of tires left too. So if a caution comes out now, everybody's probably taking their last set of tires.
does Crump have 2 sets? I think Crump's got 2 sets.
Well, no, because he made that pit stop under green.
No, you're right. Yeah, nobody's got 2 sets then. Johnny's looking top on that 8 car. All that behind Kyle Hanshaw, who's having a very strong day up in 12th. All this happening behind Ryan Lutz, the race leader, as Crump gives up to Johnny Thomas and Narducci. Wonder if that 8 car is maybe trying to save a little fuel here. A couple of guys are pitting, Barbieri and Campbell. Those are the wave around guys that took the wave around. They're going ahead. They have to get fuel anyway. They might as well get it and try to gain as much ground as they can in case anybody else has to come down pit road.
Yeah, and they'll make up that ground on tires right here over these boys too. So they'll be able to, even if somebody in this front group takes fuel only after they tried to save it a little bit later, you know, that ground will be made up by those guys and they'll be able to pass them.
This is a tight battle here as Nick Delicato drives to the inside of James Heater's got help from Ryan Gavel, his teammate. Dylan Thomas is right in this battle as well. And Delicato's going to clear Heater, though. That 11 car, very strong in the early part of the run, but I don't know that it's handling quite as well now that we've got 20 laps on the tires.
Yeah, and you don't know who's backing off to save, who's giving up, who's doing what here. I think James Heater might have went out there and abused his tires, but at the same time, he might have seen the fuel number and said, I'm going to back off some.
Big question is, does Lutz, does Beers, do any of these 4 shift cars all in a row from 3rd to 6th, do they've got enough fuel? Time will tell.
Yeah, it's going to be a big question all the way to the end, who has fuel to make it and who doesn't.
It seems like it's a Michigan thing, right? The fuel number always kind of appears when you race at Michigan. And maybe Ryan Lutz and Austin Beers can make it to the end here, and we're speculating for nothing. But, you know, the calculation says they're maybe a lap short. They probably had to save a little bit on this run, and we haven't seen no saving from those front 2 cars. And Beers
we have
he's
seen other
backing
guys.
off a little bit.
We have seen other guys back off and really save. We saw Joe Francis really take about 3 or 4 laps there in a row and save hard.
He's behind Scott Crump now, and I imagine you also want to be in the draft, right? You don't want to be leading the draft. You do burn more fuel when you're up front, pushing the air away. When you're in the draft, you can kind of run 3/4 throttle and run the same speed when you're falling in behind somebody.
Yeah, it'll be very, very interesting to see how this all works.
I'm in just under 20 to go here. I thought Beers might be saving a little bit. He had backed off. Massey's way up top. Oh, they're letting the cars with fresh tires go by here. Barbieri, Campbell flying through on fresh tires, trying to unlap themselves. Michael Goodman will also be coming by shortly. Mike Christopher as well, as he just came off pit road. That'll throw a wrench into the battling for position up here as Campbell's 4 wide on the apron here. Now up down to 3 wide, trying to take advantage of Barbieri, you know, fighting on the bottom. A very aggressive move from Gerald Campbell, and it will pay off as he's going to clear Barbieri, clears Beers to 2nd, and he will try to unlap himself now. And Campbell's got to go extremely hard to try and take advantage of any of these guys running out of fuel, should that happen. Bayou going after 2nd.
Yeah, I think right now what you're seeing, I think Beers has slowed down to try to save a little bit of fuel.
Those shift guys haven't been pushing it. I will say, I think Bayuk hasn't been pushing it, right? He's been steady throughout.
Hey, I'm going to call it out right now. Look at the back of this pack. Look who's starting to make moves. Nick Massey, I feel like, has put himself in a spot where he says, I can try to go get some track position now.
That's typical Nick Massey on any run, but especially on a run where there may be a fuel question. Once you get 20 laps on the tires, the 48 car comes to life.
Especially if he's extra saved him now since he knew it was going to be a fuel run. He didn't even take off at all at the start of this run.
Right, he fell all the way to the back of this pack, and you know, It is. He needed it to go green, right? He didn't need to be restarting back there, but as it has gone green, it's fallen into his hands. Hunt and Ryan Gavel now for 6th. Beers turned the wick up. Once he fell back a little bit, he's turned that notch right back up, and he's starting to reel Ryan Lutz back in, pull away from Matthew Bayuk.
It looks like that old green car there. The green machine is backing up just a little bit right now.
Seth Rawls falls to teammate Ryan Gavel and Nick Indelicato. Nick Massey will be next. Worth noting, you see the Seth Rawls Designs logo on Massey's number 48. Not a team car. Doesn't have the Dodge logos. The Dodge, how you differentiate the shift cars from Massey. But Seth painted the car. Looks good. Got that Jimmy Johnson Cobalt feel to it. Rawls able to hang on the outside of Massey. Massey trying to make it happen on the bottom, but that's just not working out. Is Scott Crump still fighting amongst kind of the back end of the top 15 after losing the pole or losing the lead? Oh, he gets spun by Narducci. Can Crump save it? He does. Wow.
What a save there by Scott Crump.
Wow. Big quick replay here. They were 3 wide. Looks like Narducci just misjudged Crump's braking point while he's saving fuel. Monster save by Scott Crump to keep this race green. Lost a couple of spots for it. Sure, not particularly happy.
Great save, though. Scott Crump's a really good driver. Great job. Great car control there.
Got word from the crew of the 36 car. Lutz is either 2 laps to the good or 2 laps short. So there you go. Perfectly done. We know exactly what's going to go on.
He's 2 laps to the good or 2 laps short. We'll figure it out.
Yep. No one can math, apparently, is the issue. Hopefully the crew figures it out. I think they're just going to leave him out there till this race ends and hope that it works out. That's what I would do in this situation. Nick Massey has cleared Seth Rawls, continues his march to the front, going after Ryan Gavel. Hasn't been able to bypass that 0-1 car, but 48 very, very quick right now. Faster than Gavel by a 10th last lap. Faster than Indelicato, faster than Bayuk, faster than Beers. The only one who has got a better lap time right now is Ryan Lutz.
And Nick is in that traffic right now, too, so.
Mm-hmm. Here comes Michael Goodman on fresh tires. He'll be bypassing this group rather rapidly. Coming up on 10 laps to go once they get around. Looking back, Trupiano is in 10th. He is the first car that did top off, so he's probably the first car that we know 100% that can make it. Johnny Thomas is in 11th, so that's the second car that we know that 100% can make it. Wouldn't shock me if the rest of these guys all can and we just don't know it yet.
I don't know. I haven't seen a lot of these guys back their pace off.
No, who absolutely hasn't is Ryan Lutz. Scott Crump does. Oh, did he hit the wall? I think the 8 car's been in the fence. That thing looks beat up. Maybe those tires got upset once he saved them, and it cost him a little more time. Tough break for Scott Crump, who had maybe the class car of the field to start this race, and other issues have prevented him from being able to contend tonight, and that's kind of been his ERSCA season, where he's had a good car and had a good opportunity to run up front, but has not materialized.
Just 9 laps to go in the Manscaped 200 here at Michigan.
Oh, man. So there was actually a different incident entirely. Regarding Scott Crump, he got back to the back bumper of the 98 car, was not so happy. Gave him a little displeasure bump. 98 car went up, came back down, right hooked Scott Crump into the fence. Looked like Scott had gotten a very very good little message sent there, and Narducci decided that that was not appropriate.
Yeah, message delivered, message received, right?
Yeah, I thought Crump did a very nice job of giving him a "I'm not happy with you, but here's my displeasure. I'm not gonna wreck you, but I am gonna tell you I'm unhappy." And Narducci said, "Well, how about I just finish you off?" So I don't know if I agree with that train of thinking there from the '98 car, but that's what it was. Gavel up the track. He and Massey almost both hit the wall. I think Massey did hit the wall. They're trying to wreck. Ryan Gavel's in the wall. Can he save it? He cannot. Is that going to be a caution? It is. Well, that throws the fuel strategy out the window.
Well, now you don't have to worry about your 2 laps there, Lutz.
Exactly. Everyone will be getting tires now. So Ryan Gavel got loose in front of Bayuk. He and Massey both chased it up into the fence. Gavel tried to save it all the way down the front straightaway, bounced it off of Bayuk once, back up to the wall, and then once he hit the wall here, that car does finally lose control. Should go back and find the Crump incident. Oh, I guess we did watch the Crump incident as well, but if Scott or I guess Gavel's probably still in this race. Anybody's in the infield care center, you're welcome to come on up during this caution. And I wonder if, you mentioned the 2 tires earlier. Is there any reason some of these guys wouldn't go for it?
I think it's worth the risk late in the race like this, and Lutz and Beers have been basically the class of the field thus far, but if you're somebody a little bit further back, maybe a Dylan Thomas, Andy Trupiano, why not take the risk, see if you can gain something here? You're not going to lose too much, so might be worth giving it a shot.
Everyone definitely coming to get at least some form of tire.
It would be interesting. I just think the run was too long. Earlier when they got 2, they had less than 10 laps. They've ran a full fuel run right here. So
The one thing you can do is put in just a gallon or so of fuel. Try to leave that car light.
Pit exit will be interesting.
I think everybody got into their stall. Dylan Thomas is out early. 2 tires for him, 2 tires for Hanshaw. Probably 2 for Trupiano. Thomas is going to be your race leader. Hanshaw is going to be second. And then Lutz, Indelicato, Beers, Bayuk, Rawls, Massey. So Hanshaw and Dylan Thomas roll the dice and go with 2 tires. A couple of guys that are further back in points. But if cautions keep waving quickly, it could fall right into their hands.
Did we have people stay out here?
Mike Christopher stayed out. I don't know if he's 1 lap down, so I think he's waiting for the lucky dog. Been a tough race for Mike. Ended up off the strategy despite having a top 5 car, and then he ended up being trapped a lap down when Crump got the lucky dog and Hibbs got back in the lead lap there. I will say we will finally see what old Joe Francis and Nick Massey have. Was there another incident with the 15?
Not to my knowledge. Let's see what we see here.
Robert has it pulled up.
I'm thinking he just stopped on the racetrack. Yeah, he just stopped. Might have been adjusting something, getting a drink, something like that. But the 15 of our...
Yep, he's back. Interesting. Wasn't sure. He's been involved in a few incidents today. Ooh, so that leaves Dylan Thomas on an island all by himself here. Dylan Thomas, Ryan Lutz, Nick Indelicato, Austin Beers, the top 4. Matthew Bayuk rounds out the top 5. And you got maybe 3 of the most aggressive ERSCA drivers up there in Thomas, Lutz, Beers. Delicato's pretty aggressive too, and this is a recipe for fireworks here. I would say, put your seatbelts on at home, strap in, be ready. This could get pretty crazy.
Three-lap shootout, going to be very interesting to see if Dylan Thomas can hold on. And like you mentioned, David, if we get a few cautions here, that could make it really interesting.
Yep, we will. I want to say we only have one overtime. Might have two. We'll have to
I
check
believe
it.
you're correct.
So, but this is basically a three-lap shootout, so not a green-white checkered. And to regulation, if the caution comes out before we take the white, we'll go to overtime.
How does this leader take off? That's the question.
Dylan Duentz goes really, really early. It stacks Bayuk back. He will be able to clear Ryan Lutz, but these guys are going to have some major grip advantages going into turn one. Dylan Thomas down to the bottom.
Do you block the top? He's going to be in the middle three.
Delicato, he slides up in front of Lutz. Stays on top, and Delicato couldn't get the run off the corner. Dylan Thomas has it. Lutz is just hunting for the lead here down the back. 3 wide for second. Beers down into the bottom. He's going to get the bumper from Delicato. No! Dylan up the track. Rolls into the picture. Lutz drafting Beers. Beers to the lead. And Delicato on the bottom. He's already run into Beers tonight. 2 to go. Lutz goes up top, gets a big run off here. Delicato and Beers side by side.
We know Lutz is willing to take this thing 3 wide. Does he do it down here into 3?
Absolutely. Here comes Ryan Lutz to the bottom of the racetrack. 3 wide for the lead at Michigan. Lutz is going to clear them both, but he's not going to be able to get off the corner well. Here comes Delicato.
And Beers.
And Beers to second. Lutz is going to have to block Rawls. He doesn't. They're crashing. The caution's out. Green-white checkered is up.
And it came out before they got the white. Oh, and they're still wrecking up here.
What a... Wow, man. They were throwing some major moves there. Beers is going... Delicato's going to have the lead, I believe. Which is a big advantage on this green-white checkered. Beers is second. Rawls will be third. Lutz will be fourth. Per scoring. Let's go back and see what happened there to cause this caution before... Woo! Show and hand shot, but I think he just gets collected in something that happened in front of him. It looked like Francis and Heater got together. Yeah, I think it's just Francis and Heater that wrecked.
Boys, you can get a freeze frame of when that caution came out. Nick and Delicato was about 5 feet from crossing the line to take the white flag.
Oh, Bayuk wiggles. It's going to take Narducci saved it. It's just Heater and Francis.
I will say, guys, the timestamp for the white flag and the yellow, the exact same second.
Yeah, I've got a freeze frame here.
That was incredibly close.
And the one car is literally where it says www.Michigan Speedway or MS Speedway. He is passing the double E's as the caution comes out.
Yeah, it was down to the 10th of a second. It was really, really close.
And it had he taken the white, they would have raced it back around. iRacing doesn't throw the caution on the white flag lap. It doesn't end the race. That would have meant they would have been hauling it into turn one with cars strewn on the front straightaway, going for the race win, coming off of turn 4.
This is going to be interesting as we're going to do 3 to go again. Another 3-lap shootout here. Actually, no, this will be a green-white checker, so 2 laps.
Yep, this is, and we official info, 2 green-white checkers here in ERSCA.
And they gave 1 to green here.
Yep. Not sure if everybody's lined up. I guess they are. We'll re-rack it. Nick and Delicato leading. Austin Beers second. Ryan Lutz will be third. Seth Rawls fourth. Andy Trupiano's up to 5th. Nick Massey is 6th. Then it'll be Bayuk 7th. Dylan Thomas on 2 tires in 8th. Ryan Narducci 9th. And Ryan Gavel's damage number 01 in 10th. I think he was one of the ones got wrapped up in that wreck late. Here we go. Rawls and Delicato are going to go together. They've got the group chat. They're going to get the push.
Oh, big wheel spin on the bottom.
They're going to wreck. They're going to wreck here. Gavel and Thomas. Caution's back out. I wonder if Beers is going to get a black flag there. It looked like he might have gone before the leader. Here it is. It looked like.
I believe it's Lutz. Lutz went early.
I don't know if you can get a. I think he pushed into Beers. It stacks up the outside, Thomas, and then Gavel just gets bounced off of everybody down below. Gavel, a bit of an innocent bystander there, but those restarts they do get wild and crazy, and this is why you wanted that lead when that caution does come out, because if they wreck again like that, Indelicato's just the race winner.
This has really shuffled up the back half of the top 10. Goodman and Campbell now up there with a shot at a pretty good finish.
Yeah, good for Michael Goodman. Missed out last week, but he's here this week. The Volkswagens traveled to Michigan.
And that's just unfortunate there on, for that inside lane. We're really lucky that wreck didn't happen right up